Welcome back to the Commanders Declassified Podcast, your home for all things Washington Commanders. We are going to be back on audio this week. We promise we got it figured out. We will be back on audio. So thank you for your patience there. And thank you for everyone who tuned in to us on YouTube last week. 4,500 people watched the episode last week. 2,000 the first day it dropped. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your continued support. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you content as long as you guys keep loving it, which you certainly seem to do. Eric, how we doing this evening?
Doing well. I'm excited that audio is coming back and people don't have to look at me because we could have had 10,000 views if I weren't so ugly. So let's get the audio back.
You're the resident Henry Cavill or Cavill, whatever his name is, right?
Henry Cavill, yeah, I'm like great value Henry Cavill's cousin. Not even great value Henry Cavill. I'm like,
but we'll still have the video option as well. So your
absolutely
mug will be plastered across the internet no matter what you say.
If you're a masochist and you want to look at me for 40 minutes, feel free to tune into the YouTube channel.
All right. And our resident pretty boy, Brian, what's going on, man?
I don't know if I can live up to that one, but I'm awesome, man. We got we got the audio back. That's the lifeblood. We're back with that, and the team put out a statement. It's sold, so I'm happy. I'm doing really good.
You know what? Times are good, and we have no losses this year so far, so it couldn't be any better.
All wins right now.
All dubs. Speaking of W, speaking of wins, we're going to go through the schedule tonight. I got a lot of messages from a lot of you out there in the Commanders Declassified universe asking for this episode. We're going to bring it to you declassified style as you know it. I'm going to bring up the schedule on my screen for those of you watching and those of you listening once again. You can listen in and we'll go through the schedule. So our 2023 season will kick off with the Cardinals in week 1. That's a good matchup. We don't know the status of Kyler Murray. We don't know what the Cardinals roster is going to look like officially because there's still a lot of change to have happen. It could be Colt McCoy. It could be David Blau, who they brought in, formerly of the Lions. He may have played elsewhere last year. But Eric, week 1 versus the Cardinals, 1 p.m. on Fox, September 10th. How do you see that one shaking out?
So I'm actually thinking of doing 2 record predictions here. One for if Sam Howell works out, and one for if he doesn't, because we could go either way. So I think I might roll through that this time around. So either way, this should be a win. If the team starts off losing a home game to probably the worst team in the NFL this year, it's going to be a long season. So I just, even, Sam Howell was good. If Sam Howell was bad, this is a game that this team has to win. If losing this game to this team that is, the Cardinals are clearly in year 1 of a rebuild, and brand new head coach, and just, I can't, this is a win. It's 1-0, 1-0. This team, this is a victory for the team. Whether it's good Sam or bad Sam, this is a victory.
Yeah, that this is like the Caleb Williams, or one of the teams that will be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Hopefully, we're not the other team in that sweepstakes.
We might be.
We may be. But, Brian, how do you see that one shaking out? Do you agree with Eric there?
Yeah, it's going to be a win, and it's going to be a win regardless if Kyler Murray plays. Like, I'm not into Kyler Murray being an all-star type of quarterback. Their roster is not very good, and I don't think Gannon, the head coach, is going to be very good. We played against his defenses. I think we should understand them and have a good enough understanding of what he likes to do. But that roster defensively, and whatever offensive weapons they have, I think DeAndre Hopkins is still there, even though he wants to be traded. Yeah, I don't see it. I think this will be a coming out party for one young Sam Howell. So I look for this to be easy game, big win.
Yeah, you think about, I think the talent on Philly's defense bailed Gannon out quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
So if you run the Philly schemes without the talent of Philly's defense, it may not be pretty.
Yeah, Philly had number 1 in sacks last year. That's not going to be the case in Arizona. They're not going to have. They're not going to be number 1 in sacks. So it's going to be a tough year for them.
Yeah, and I think this is a W as well. I just don't think that Kyler Murray will be healthy in time. I will reserve the right to change my opinion if we find out that he is back and ready to play by this point, but I don't see it right now due to the ACL injury. So I'm going to give us the W. I think we start out 1-0 and looking good to start the season. Vegas has the Commanders as 4.5-point favorites in this game. So Vegas is predicting a W as well. Week 2, we play in Denver, 4:25 p.m. on CBS against Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, and the Broncos. Eric, tell us what you think.
All right. So good Sam. I think this is a close loss. Bad Sam. It's a bad loss. Denver's just a tough place to play, especially for teams that don't go there every year. The altitude is a real thing. That defense is legit. This is Russell Wilson and Sean Payton teaming up. Potentially a very good offense. They'll probably still be working the kinks out there. So I think it's probably a low-scoring game either way. But I'm going to go ahead and give this an L. Good Sam or bad Sam, it's an L.
Okay, Brian, how you feeling?
I'm still feeling really good, and I'm going with a win here. I think the Broncos still have things to work out. I don't think that they'll just be in midseason form. Russell Wilson, 5 touchdowns, and everybody's happy in Denver. I still think that it's early in the season. I think Eric Bieniemy will have a great influence on this game, and it will be a tight one, a close one, but I think we pull it off to start out 2-0.
All right. I like the optimism. I think going to Denver, Eric mentioned it, mile high altitude is a huge factor for players in the NFL. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson together, I think, is a very dangerous combination. I'm in the camp that doesn't believe that Russell Wilson is as bad as it was last season. And then I think with another year under his belt in Denver to get comfortable with his teammates, they're going to be pretty good. Their running game should be significantly better than it was last year due to the health of their running backs and some additions they made this offseason. I just think in this game, because I think this is going to be bully ball on both sides of the ball. I think we're going to run the ball a lot in Denver with all of our running backs due to the altitude issues. I think this is going to be one of those games that really comes down to the last couple of plays or which quarterback turns the ball over more. In this case, I'm going to go with the experience of Russell Wilson. I think Denver takes it in week 2 on their home field. All right. Then we have the Buffalo Bills, September 24th versus Buffalo. I'm just going to ask. Actually, let me go back to what Vegas says. Vegas has us losing to Denver as well. They have the Broncos as a 4-point favorite. Forgot to mention that there. Now, week 3, do any of us have us beating the Bills?
No.
Good Sam does not beat the Bills. Bad Sam definitely does not beat the Bills. So no.
Yeah, I'm just going to roll with the crew there. I think also the Bills are just too good of a team right now.
Yeah.
We'll be a scrappy team. I have no doubt against teams like this. I think we'll keep it close for most of the game. But the Bills are just too seasoned, too playoff, just seasoned again. I think they just have too much right now for us to overcome. And they can run the ball with their quarterback. They got better at the running back position the offseason. Their defense is good. They still have Stephon Diggs. They picked up a good tight end, I believe, over the offseason as well. I forget the name of that individual. But I think Utah. Buffalo is just going to be too strong. And this is no shame on us losing to a team like Buffalo. Vegas has them as 4.5-point favorites.
Yeah, and I don't even think the Buffalo. I think where Buffalo is going to separate from us is our defense against their offense. I don't think our defense is capable of adjusting to all the different things that they're going to be able to do on offense. I think that's really the biggest separation between those. I think our offense will be much improved, but I don't think our defense really has improved that greatly. I think they'll get exposed by Josh Allen and the Bills, and it'll be a big outpouring of points for those guys.
Wow, we took that to a negative place. I hope our defense is better. We added some pieces that I think make us more athletic in the secondary. Hopefully that contributes. This should be a big game for Cody Barton to see what he can do with his athleticism and Josh Allen on the edges. Will it be enough to make a difference? I don't believe so. But I think it'll be a good test anyway, Brian, to see where we really are as a defense. All right. Then we come back on October 1st at 1 o'clock, and we face the Eagles in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial. Vegas has the Eagles as a +7. They have us the Eagles as a touchdown favorite in this game. Eric, what do you see?
This is where good Sam starts to separate from bad Sam. A good Sam Howell said, this is assuming Sam and Eric Bieniemy click. The offense is working. The defense has not at least taken a big step back. This is actually going to be a win for the good Sam Howell-led team. It is a loss if Sam Howell is not the guy.
Okay, you got it as a
The
dub.
Eagles
Okay.
are going to take a step back this year also.
Yes.
I am not convinced. Their schedule is a lot tougher. They lost. The last time we saw Nick Sirianni calling plays, they were god-awful. He's back calling plays, so we'll see what happens there. But I don't think they're going to be a 14-3, 13-4 type team this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. The Eagles are still a very good team, but they're not as good as what we saw. They enjoyed a lot of things happen that went right for them last year, and this game will not be one of those. We win this game, we win it convincingly, and we move to 3-1.
Look, the Eagles are a fantastic team that made it to the Super Bowl, and they added more pieces this offseason. I have no reason to believe, realistically, they've gotten worse just because 3 months have passed since the Super Bowl. I'm going to stick with the chalk here and assume that the Eagles are playing at or above the level that they finished off last year, given some of the continuity they've had in terms of players and the pieces they added, like Jalen Carter. They had an amazing draft, at least on paper, and that's going to help with their depth issues. Not issues, but with their depth. They lost a lot of coaches due to their successful season last year, but it's not enough for me to say that they're going to take a tremendous step back this year. I am just going to say that the Eagles are probably going to take that game. We come back on October 5th versus the Bears on Thursday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime. Eric, it's a home game against Chicago. What do you say, man?
So bad Sam wins this in an ugly game. Good Sam wins this in a blowout. But either way, it's a win for the Washington Commanders.
I like it. Okay, Brian?
As Eric is using the example, this is good Sam. There's multiple touchdowns. You see the creativity of Eric Bieniemy's offense. We run away with this game. It's not close. Justin Fields is not ready yet, and neither is the rest of the Bears team. It's not close. We win.
Yeah, I think you guys are forgetting about the Bears defense from last year and how effective it was. They had some really solid showings. You saw what they did to us last year. I think that, well, I mean, okay, but Carson Wentz was throwing the football last year. Like, don't act like he wasn't putting up yards
to the other team.
So, look, I'm not going to discount the Bears defense. However, what I will say is I think it's going to still be a process for Justin Fields. I think he's going to improve as a passer, but I think they're going to force it a little bit. They're going to try to keep him in the pocket more, which is going to lead to some mistakes as he's learning and progressing. I think that'll be enough. I think this is an Emmanuel Forbes breakout game this week against the Bears. 2 picks, 1 going back for a touchdown. I think we take this game. It's probably going to be in the 19-17 category, one of the old Scott Turner type specials, right? Where Eric Bieniemy looks and says, hey, we're going to run this ball, or we're going to win this game running the ball on the ground. And that's what they attempt to do. So I got the Commanders edging the Bears on Thursday Night Football for the official W. Now, what does Vegas say is your question, right? And what Vegas is saying is that they have the Commanders favored by 1.5 points. So they're 1.5 point favorites. Vegas has us getting the W as well. I am actually going chalk with Vegas, which is weird since I don't gamble. All right. We face the Falcons the following week in Atlanta, 1 p.m., CBS. Eric, take us away.
Okay, bad Sam loses in the Taylor Heineke revenge game because there's 0 chance Heineke doesn't come off the bench and run around and make plays. Good Sam dismantles a very average Falcons team. I think they got a little better in the draft, but I don't think they're going to be any good. I'm not a Desmond Ridder believer. So good Sam destroys the Falcons. Bad Sam loses to Taylor Heineke and makes us regret letting him go.
Wait, are you saying Taylor Heineke's starting this game?
Taylor Heineke will see the field in this game if Bad Sam shows up. I don't know. Call it a hunch. Desmond Ridder will be decidedly awful by week 6, and everybody will know it. So Taylor Heineke might end up playing.
So you got this as an L. I'm taking it as an L.
Okay. Win for Good Sam, though. Keep you track here.
So each one's a win and a loss.
Brian, what do you got?
I think Desmond Ritter is probably still starting by this time. I think Taylor Heineke probably gets some starts maybe later in the year, but I think at this time it's still Desmond Ritter, and I don't think he is going to do anything special that we're not going to be able to combat. And I think we win. I think I think we end up breaking the leg of Bijan Robinson in the process, because that's going to be their sole offense, right? They're going to throw it to him. They're going to run it with him, and that's just going to be it. We shut him down. We win the game.
No love for Algier.
No.
Gee, man.
They already forgot about him. They drafted Bijan. They moved on.
What I'm going to say is this game is going to look a lot like the Giants game. I think the Falcons offense will look pretty similar to the Giants offense last year, which was not a high point output, really depending on the running game of both the quarterback and the running backs. And I think we can handle that. I really do. I think we can live with that as long as we can put up points creatively. Now, we're all expecting this offense to be much more efficient under Eric Bieniemy, right? And so they're going to be effective at running the football. They're going to control the clock a little bit, but I think we're going to put up enough points with quick plays or quick scoring drives to overcome that. And I have us winning a game. I'm going to say this is going to be a 6-point differential, but it's a dub for your Commanders. Vegas has us as, I believe, 1.5-point dogs. No, 2-point dogs to the Falcons. So Vegas is picking the Falcons in this one. All right. Speaking of the Giants, October 22nd, we are going to the Meadowlands to play the Giants 1 p.m. on CBS. I said CBS. And Vegas has the Giants as 2.5-point favorites. Eric, they re-signed Daniel Jones to a magnificent contract. And Saquon Barkley is still out there waiting on a deal. How do you see this one playing out?
Daniel Jones got a new contract, but he's still Daniel Jones, which means he feasts on this team. So bad Sam definitely loses this. Good Sam and good Eric Bieniemy offense. That's a win, but bad Sam's going to lose this game.
All right. Brian, are you subscribing to that?
Yeah, I think we lose this game, not because, we play poorly or anything like that. Daboll is an excellent coach, and he coached circles around Ron Rivera last year in 2 games. With a worse roster, he found a way to tie, and he found a way to win against this team. And Ron Rivera doesn't adjust, doesn't make any changes. So I think Daboll will have his number yet again, and they beat us. But it'll be a close game. It'll be a much more competitive game, but Giants pull it out.
All right. I think we actually beat the Giants in the Meadowlands at this point in the season. They are going to be, first of all, Saquon Barkley hasn't stayed healthy in consecutive seasons, so I think that's going to be a factor. Without Saquon Barkley at 100%, what are the Giants really, right? This is going to be a pretty comfortable W for me. And Vegas has, as I said before, the Giants favored. So that is an L for Vegas. Okay. Week 8, I believe. We are back playing the Eagles at home, October 29th, just before Halloween, 1 p.m. on Fox. Eric, take us away.
Good Sam beats the Eagles for a second time this season. Bad Sam loses badly to the Eagles, and we start having conversations about Jacoby Brissett. But Good Sam beats him. So,
yeah, you think Good Sam's more likely or Bad Sam's more likely here?
I will not say right now. I'm just going to give you 2 possible outcomes. We'll chat more at the end.
Okay. Brian?
It's Schrodinger's cat right now. He's neither good nor bad. He just is.
I think we lose this one. I think the offense plays well. I think the defense plays well, but I think the Eagles find a way to score a few more points than we do, and they win this game. But a much closer game than some of the matchups in the past with the Eagles and with the Giants. And but the Eagles take this one.
Yeah. It's like that old little internet video where like they had us in the first half. Well, they're going to have us in the second half too. I think this is just too good of a team to beat this year for an up-and-coming team like us. I'm going to take the Eagles again. And again, this is nothing to hang your head about. The Eagles are just that good of a team. I believe the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl, as much as it pains me to say. I think that's going to happen. Vegas has them at 4-point favorites. So Vegas has the Eagles with a dub. I mean, yes, Eagles with a dub. All right. Let's talk the Patriots. Now, this is a very interesting matchup, November 5th in New England, 1 p.m. on Fox. Eric, what's going on?
So this is a game that Jacoby Brissett eventually replaces a stink-up bad Sam at halftime because he's so bad. Doesn't matter. Brissett still loses. But good Sam, I think, also still loses to the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick will have something for him. Maybe I'm just still stuck in the 2010s era when Belichick had something for everybody. But I think this is a loss for good or bad Sam.
Okay. Brian?
The first game against the Cardinals was a big breakout game for Sam. He plays well in that, and then he's steady all these games. This game is another breakout game for him. These Patriots are not the Patriots of old. Nobody is scared of Belichick anymore. They will be better, right? They got Bill O'Brien. They got probably the second worst offensive coordinator out of there behind Scott Turner and Matt Patricia. He's gone. So they'll look a lot better. They'll be better. But I don't think that they're that great of a football team overall. And guess what? Eric Bieniemy has played them and has beaten them in the past with Kansas City. He understands, what they try to do defensively, and I think that comes in to help us, and we win this game.
Okay. This is a really tough one to call for me because I think we are of similar trajectory as organizations currently, right, with this with Patriots and Commanders team. So I think this is going to be a really close game. I am not a huge Mac Jones fan. I think he's a decent quarterback in the NFL. His relationship with Bill Belichick has been called into question as of recent. And I think that's going to matter over the course of the season because I think at some point he may not make it through the season as a starting quarterback, especially if he's not playing excessively well. There's also the possibility that the Patriots look at their options and say, we need to find another franchise quarterback. So they go into a full out, let's get Caleb Williams or Drake May next year mode and just really tuck it in for the year because Belichick says, I need to win the Super Bowl now that Brady has with Tampa Bay a couple of years ago. So I can't call how they're going to be. It's just really difficult. What I will say is that the Patriots are good enough to give us a good fight. And it's really just going to depend on how prepared we are as a team to play this group. So I'm going to say that we come out short on this one against the Patriots in their home in November. And it could be snowing in New England for all we know. So I'm going to give us an L there. Vegas says that the Patriots are 3.5-point favorites. Now, these are early lines. They're going to change. We know that, but Vegas has it as enough. Then we travel from New England all the way over to the West Coast to play the Seahawks. They're home, 4:25 p.m. on Fox. Geno Smith versus Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett, according to Eric.
Yep.
How do you see this one going, man?
Yeah, Geno Smith versus Jacoby Brissett, and that sound you hear is 10 million TVs turning off. I will be completely out on the season if this happens. But I will say that Jacoby manages to pull off a victory in Week 10 at Seattle. Good Sam, however, on the other side, destroys the Seahawks and makes Geno Smith look it just embarrasses Geno Smith. So if Good Sam shows up, it's a laugher. Jacoby will pull out a slog of a game that nobody's going to watch at 4:25. It'll probably get flexed to Thursday morning because nobody wants to watch Jacoby Brissett versus Geno Smith. But let's hope for Good Sam. But yeah, so it's an L for it's an L if the bad scenario plays out. It's a win if Good Sam shows up.
I'm gonna play this game during chemistry class in high school, I guess.
Yep.
10 a.m. on a Thursday. All right, Brian, what do you got, man?
Traveling across country is never helpful. I think we lose a close one. I think offense plays well. I think our defense probably struggles greatly, and I think it's a close one, but we lose.
Yeah, I love the Geno Smith story. I really do. And they have running backs out the wazoo in Seattle. So they can they have so many offensive weapons in the air too. Didn't they add Jackson Smith and Jigba? They
Mhm.
have DK Metcalf. They have who's your slot receiver? They
Lockett.
have it.
Lockett.
Yeah, the other receiver. I don't know if he plays slot anymore, but Lockett. Um, gosh, they just have done such a good job there. And it's really difficult to win in Seattle. I think it's going to be a rainy game. I think this one's going to give us some real issues. I got the Seahawks taking this game. And that's just what's going to happen, I think. All right. Then we come back against the Giants on November 19th, 1 p.m. on Fox. By the way, Vegas has the Seahawks as 3.5-point favorites. Brian, let's start with you versus Giants. What do you see, man?
We got beat and embarrassed in that first Giants game earlier this season, and I think we come back and we take this one. I think Eric Bieniemy puts together a good game plan, and I think the defense finally makes some adjustments to what Brian Daboll's been doing to us here in these handful of games, and I think we actually pull this game out against the Giants.
Okay, that's a W. Okay, Eric.
All right, Jacoby Brissett. The luster starts to come off of the victory, yeah, Jacoby Brissett loses this game to the Giants, in a bad fashion. Good Sam, of course, beats the Giants because Good Sam is all of that. But yeah, Jacoby Brissett at this point in the season is your starter, and this game will not go well because Jacoby Brissett is Jacoby Brissett.
Do they flip a coin at the beginning? All right, heads is bad Sam, tails is good Sam.
No, this isn't a Rex Grossman situation. This is a situation if Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy click, the season is going to go in a much different way than if they don't.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say that we win this game against the Giants. I think at this point in the season, the Giants are figuring out that last year was a bit of a fluke that just was really aided by new coaching blood in the organization, but they're still really low on top-tier talent. So I think that they're going to drop this game against us. I think we'll do a really good job in this game, no matter who's at quarterback for us. Daniel Jones is due for a meltdown game of catastrophic proportions. I just think that we're going to be really competitive with the Giants this year. I got us as a W. Vegas wasn't projecting odds that far out, so we're going to skip that. Now, we come back on Thanksgiving and play the Cowboys at 4:30 p.m. in Dallas. Eric, what's our Turkey Day going to be like?
We're going to be, well, with Brissett, we get absolutely humiliated and boat raced in the 40-something to the 10-something range. It's just going to be a typical Dallas-Washington Thanksgiving game where we get laughed off the field. However, Good Sam, if Good Sam is here, he goes 2-0 against the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't know what to write, but I'm going to put a W here.
All right. I'm keeping track in my head. Don't worry.
Okay. I'll take it. Brian, Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, I think this is a win for the Commanders. Ron Rivera, while he has lost a lot of games here in D.C., he's been a lot better at primetime games than our record previously before him getting there. And I think this is no different. I think Sam and Eric Bieniemy are off to the races in this game, and they put up a lot of points, and we beat the Cowboys. And I think the Cowboys in general are just going to take a step back. I don't think that they're as good as, what national media always seems to think that they are.
Yeah, I think the Giants are the team that are going to take the step back, not the Cowboys. Especially if that rumor about them and Dalvin Cook from the Vikings comes to fruition. Not that I know that it will or won't, but it's just a rumor. I think in Dallas in November, where there's no pressure on their season, is a tough win to get. The Cowboys start to fold a little bit when the games start to matter. But at this point in the season, I think they're still coasting. They're still riding their Texas high. Dak is still being Dak. I think Tony Pollard over Ezekiel Elliott is going to be a significant upgrade for them. I am taking Dallas in this game. Then, after we play Dallas, we got to spin the block, come back and play the Dolphins at home at 1 p.m. The fastest team in the NFL, without a doubt. They have speed everywhere. They drafted A-Chain as the running back, who was a 4'2", 840 guy, along with Tyreek Hill and the other cast of characters that they have there. Eric, how do you see this one going?
I think this is a loss for Good Sam and Bad Sam, or Jacoby Brissett. I think it's so bad that Jacoby Brissett retires at halftime. But I think not even Good Sam will be able to keep up with the Dolphins' offense. I think their offense is just going to be really special, especially if Tua stays healthy. So this, I think, is a loss either way, even for the mighty Good Sam.
Brian?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a loss, but I think this is going to be an exciting game. I'm going high scoring, 42-41, Dolphins win it. Yeah, lots of offense and the Dolphins offense. I think the Dolphins offense is going to be very similar to ours. A lot of quick game, a lot of running out of various formations, and some calculated deep shots. But I think that's a very similar offense to what we might look at here this year.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to look a lot like the Rams in the early 2000s, where it's just get the ball out of Tua's hands, let the speedsters do speedy things. I think this is going to be one of the better games for Sam Howell, where he's just sort of unleashed. I mean, the thing that we have to keep into perspective is that Sam Howell is still technically a rookie in terms of starts. And so rookies tend to struggle at times. We have to be realistic about that. And I think, but in this game, he's going to be free to play because there's going to be so much scoring that we're going to have to chuck the ball around. So I think this is a game where he has pretty good numbers. He's playing within himself, but also just playing with freedom, which is important for young quarterbacks. I do have the Dolphins pulling it out just because I think, while I love the additions we've made on defense, because I think that Forbes and Quan are both really, really fast players. I just think that speed and how they use it, nobody's been able to cover Tyreek Hill since he's been in the league. I don't care how fast they are. And now with the other receiver that they've had for a couple of years there, Smith, is it? His last, he's slipping my mind here.
Jalen Waddle.
I'm sorry. Jalen Waddle. Thank you very much. And then A-Chain out of the backfield, just doing insane things. I think it's just a matchup nightmare for our defense. I think Jamin Davis might struggle a little bit in this game as well. I have the Dolphins going up big and then us making a push late in the game, but not enough to close the gap to make it anything competitive. But I do have the Dolphins taking this game. Then we got a bye week in week 14 where we can regroup. And then we come out of that bye week on December 17th and go to the Rams in Los Angeles at 4:05. Eric, what do we see here?
All right. Jacoby Brissett is now retired, so Sam Howell is back in the starting lineup. And I think even Bad Sam beats the Rams this year because the Rams are mired in a rebuild. They're going to struggle a lot this year. Good Sam, of course, blows them out. Bad Sam even pulls out a win here. And there's a glimmer of hope for Bad Sam.
Sure.
I think this is an easy win. I think the Rams have all but fallen apart. If Matthew Stafford is somehow healthy by that time, I can't imagine them playing well at all. I think they've got a lot of older guys on that team, and they've got a lot of rebuilding to do. So I don't look for a whole lot out of the Rams this season, and I think this is if there could be an easy game, I think this may be it because I don't think they're going to have much life in them at this point in the season, the Rams.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rams are going to be rebuilding at this point. And they're going to be vying for one of those top quarterbacks. If they have a draft pick next year, that is, I believe they do. But who knows? Because they just tend to trade those away for that Super Bowl. So we'll see. All right. Then we got Aaron Rodgers and the Jets on Christmas Eve at 1 p.m. in New York. Eric, what do you got?
This is the Good Sam coming out party where he humiliates Aaron Rodgers on national TV. It won't be national TV. It's the Jets and the Commanders. But So Good Sam wins this game. Bad Sam is back in the starting lineup and gets demolished by the Jets' tough defense, and the offense. The firepower on offense is too much for our defense. So Bad Sam will lose this game. Good Sam will show Aaron Rodgers who the boss is.
And by Good Sam, you really mean Great Sam because at this point,
Sam's gonna. Yeah, this is 4,500 yard, 37 TD Sam that we're talking about.
That's it.
Wow. Okay. Brian?
Yeah, the Jets look like a powder keg to me, right? They look like they are going to combust at some point this season. Aaron Rodgers, all the expectation, the media in New York, I don't see this going well for them at all. Rodgers in general, he's had it very nice in Green Bay. When he gets to a place where they're going to start questioning him and his commitment and all those things, I can see it going sideways real quick. And hey, it's the Jets. They're dysfunctional as well, too. So I think we win this game. I think the Jets look like a mess by this time in the season. Their defense is good, so I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means or anything like that. But I think we put enough together to beat them because I think they're going to be in disarray at that point.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers has actually been one of the most scrutinized quarterbacks over the last couple of years. I think he's handled it well on the field anyway, enough to say that I'm not concerned about that with him and the Jets. They have so many weapons on offense that I really, really like. Do they have better offensive weapons than we do in totality? I'm not going to say that, but I think they have relatively close. And Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, and 75% of Aaron Rodgers is still better than most quarterbacks in the NFL. Their defense is really good, and they're only going to get better. I think the Jets take this one as long as Aaron Rodgers plays. If he doesn't play, there's no way we lose this game. But I'm going to have to assume that he will because he does a good job of protecting himself by getting rid of the ball. So I'm going to take the Jets in this one, and we'll see how it plays out. 49ers, January 31st, 1 p.m. on Fox. That cannot be January. That should be December 31st, I believe.
Yeah, that's a long bye week.
On Fox. What do you got, Brian? Eric, sorry.
This is the Sam Howell versus Brock Purdy matchup that has been forecast all season. Everybody's been looking forward to it. This is the good Sam Howell versus Brock Purdy matchup. And I think even with good Sam, I think the 49ers offense and defense combined is a little too much for this team. Bad Sam gets benched, and Jake Fromm is the guy who gets to play. So it's a laugher if that happens. So bad Sam loss, good Sam closer loss.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, I think the offense plays well, but not well enough. I think the 49ers are a better team, and I think the 49ers offense will just be too much for our defense. Our defense doesn't adjust. They run their scheme, and they rarely make changes or adjust. And with an offense like the 49ers, Shanahan's going to be doing all kinds of different things that we haven't seen or that we won't adjust to. So 49ers win this game a little bit closer than I think probably it would be in the last couple of seasons, but 49ers beat us.
Yeah, I think this is a Trey Lance game. Honestly, I think that Brock Purdy.
That changed my mind. It's a win then.
yeah, exactly. If that's the case, I'll change my mind.
The league will figure out Brock Purdy by week 8 of this year. I think this is Trey Lance. I think they're going to stick to running the football and throwing the ball deep. They can do it effectively enough to beat us. Their defense is good. The edge pressures are amazing. And they have Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's a formula for anybody to win. They could put the 3 of us in there, and I think we'd still pull out 2 W's this year. So I got the 49ers going over us. Last game of the regular season, we play the Cowboys. TBD could be flexed in or out. Eric, how's this season going to finish up?
Well, good Sam or bad Sam, Jake Fromm is starting this game. Because Jacoby Brissett is retired. As we know, he retired at halftime of the Dolphins game. And it's a win either way. The position is secured for good Sam. We're in the playoffs. They're resting him. Jake Fromm replaces bad Sam and kicks off a whole new quarterback controversy by beating the Dallas Cowboys at the end of the season. While they're fighting for their playoff lives, and they choke, and Washington wins that game. Come at me, Dallas fans. I know you're watching.
Yeah, I think I'm going with the same thing. Again, I think the Cowboys are going to have a rough season. I think they're going to take a major step back. And just like Eric said, at this point, they're trying to get into the playoffs. They're struggling. They're fighting. And we deliver the knockout blow to the Cowboys season. We beat them. Defense plays well. Offense plays well. And we finish it out with a win and I believe sweep, or at least I had the sweep of the Cowboys. And they're out of the playoffs. We're in the playoffs, and everyone's happy.
The Cowboys showed us last season what they do when they don't care in the final game of the season. The final game of the last regular season, they were resting players not resting players, but I think they were playing to not get hurt. So I think one or two things is going to be true here. Either they're going to be safely in the playoffs and they're going to do the same thing, or they're going to be, out of it completely and won't, even risk it to try to, fight us to get a win. So I have this as a W for the Commanders. Either way, we finish with a W. All right. Eric, where did you end up with bad and good, Sam? Because I'm not really sure at this point. How'd you have them finishing up?
All right. So I was keeping track as best I could in my head. What I was shooting for was 12-5 with good Sam, 5-12 with bad Sam, because that's where I want to be. I don't want to win 8 games. I don't want to win 9 games. I don't want to win 10 games. I want to win 12 or I want to lose 12. I want to know at the end of next season if Sam Howell is the guy or not. I don't want to be arguing with people about whether he's the guy or not. So I don't, obviously I would prefer 12 wins. If it's 12 losses, we're ready to cut bait, move on. We've got a decent draft pick. We can go get somebody. I just want clarity heading into 2024 as to who the quarterback or whether or not Sam Howell could or should be the quarterback. So if we get there, I would be elated, obviously, with 12 wins. 12 losses to me seems a little more likely just because there's a lot of this year and the division is going to be tough. I just don't want to finish in that purgatory range of 7 to 9 wins. That's the worst case scenario. A 10-win, 6-seed playoff doesn't really move the needle for me because you're not really much better and you're still kind of in that purgatory stage. I just need to know by the end of next season, is Sam Howell the guy or is Sam Howell not the guy? And if he's not the guy, move on. If he is the guy, build around him.
And Eric, does 10 wins save Ron Rivera's job in your opinion?
If they go 12-5, yes, save Ron. Ron deserves to be back if the team goes 12-5. The whole crew can come back if they win 12 games. I think that should be the threshold. I don't think 11 should save Ron's job unless they go deeply. Do not to be in that mid-okay range. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Ron is more than welcome.
Brian,
back
you had the
wins next year.
Absolutely, Brian. You had the Commanders at 11-6.
I did.
Your predictions.
Yeah. So I think the offense is going to be something that's going to surprise people. I think a lot of people aren't ready for the offense to be competent, to score points, to actually be better and not just be awful like they've been the last 3 years. So I think the offense is going to take center stage this season. I think they're going to do well. But there's a very real possibility. Ron Rivera, one of his trademarks, and for Ron, this isn't a good trademark, but he starts off every season slow. Every year it's 1-4, it's 2-6. Ron, with a new ownership that will be in place here in weeks, months, whatever you want to call it, will be in place by the time the season starts. So Ron can't afford to go 2-6. If I'm a new owner, I'm not keeping you around at 2-6. Why? I'm going to cut bait and move on already. There's no reason for you to start 2-6 and then come hard charging at the end of the year so that the record doesn't look as bad. And now we're 9-8 or 8-9, something like that. So Ron cannot afford to start late. If he does, I think it's over for him. I think it's a wrap for him. If he can, come out. It doesn't need to be, 5-0 or 7-0 or something like that. But if he can be 2-2, 4-4, something like that to start out the year and then, pick up some wins along the way, I think he'll be fine. And I think 11 wins is reasonable with the talent that we have. We should have gotten more wins, last year, the year before, but we didn't. So we'll see if Eric Bieniemy is who he says he is. We'll see if he can do something with Sam Howell, and we'll see if Ron's defense is improved here with these 2 picks with Forbes and with was it Martin. We'll see how what kind of impact they have on there as well too. But if they get off to a slow start, all bets are off. Like I can see things being very, very different, and I can see an interim head coach in our future.
Okay, Eric Zampese as interim head coach. You heard it from Brian first. Just kidding. Look. You're right about we could have had a lot more wins last year, but we also could have had a lot more losses if it weren't for Heineke magic late in games that they really put us out of position to win, but somehow he brought it back. I had us at 8-9. I think that's probably the most realistic outcome, given that that's sort of what we do year in and year out. And what that also says is there's a leverage play. It really depends on how much the division comes back or has started to improve over what they were last season. Now, their offseason moves looks like the division is going to be even better than it was last year, which is not great for us. But that's why you play the game, right? It's not done on paper. It's done on the field to see what happens. So I think 8-9 is a very realistic outcome, which is also worst case scenario to Eric's point. You don't want to just be in the middle, but I think that's where we tend to be. And I think that's probably where we're most likely to be. Now, it is May right now. A lot can change. And we'll know early on what Sam Howell is or isn't in the season, and we'll see how patient the organization is going to be with him. I think the thing is like I said before earlier in the show, he's still only played one game. So even if he's going to be great, he's going to have moments where he struggles, right? And so you have to account for that. All young quarterbacks struggle through their rookie year. So that's just going to be a reality that we're going to have to deal with. Now, Vegas says that we're going to be 2-8 through 10 games. I don't buy that either. I think that there's, I guess, a path to that, but that's just everything going completely wrong. But I think we'll be 8-9, and then some games will be a toss-up. So maybe some of those L's will turn to W's, and maybe some of those W's will turn into L's.
If Vegas is right and we're 2-8, there's no way Ron survives that. What would you be keeping Ron for if they're 2-8 in the middle of the season? I mean, there's no way he would survive that.
To me, it really depends on what the Harrises think about Bieniemy, because I think if they make Bieniemy the head coach at 2-8, I think that's worst case scenario for Bieniemy, honestly, because how do you turn around a 2-8 team at that point in the season? The team's already mostly defeated. So him coming in and just continuing to lose games would be bad for his career. So personally, if I'm Bieniemy, I want them to stick with Rivera throughout the entire season and then make a change in the offseason, me personally. Now, will that happen? I don't know. I think there's also some level of like Dan Snyder was very impulsive, and I think the Harris group is aware of that. So maybe they just say, let's ride this out and make a good decision at the end of the year. Interim head coaches are one of the most difficult situations, I think, as a front office to deal with, because if that interim coach performs decent, do you give him time to see more, or do you just say, screw it, we're going to find a new guy in the offseason? So again, let's theorize that Bieniemy is an interim head coach, and let's say he goes 500 the rest of the way. What do you do with Bieniemy at that point? You know what I mean? So I hope we're decent enough to where Ron finishes a year. Like Eric said about how I want to know what he is or isn't at the end of the year. I just want Ron to finish the year, and then we'll start over next season with brand new blood, be it Bieniemy or somebody else. So, all right. Well, that's our prediction episode, guys. Hit the comments like you always do. Let us know your thoughts, what you think the record is going to be. Be realistic. I know some of you guys are going to hate because we have records that aren't 15-2, 16-1, but we try to keep it real as much as possible on the podcast. So leave your comments. We love to read them. If you're listening on audio, welcome back, and thank you for your patience. Give us a review on all your platforms. Fellas, Eric, any final thoughts?
12-5 or 5-12 or bust. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. Make it happen.
Is 5-12 not bust?
No, that's good for me because we're a bust, but we're in a position to improve. We're not 9-8 picking 16th again, 20th or whatever.
Yeah. No, thank you.
That's what we don't want.
That's what we don't want. You're right, Brian. What do you got, man? Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Let Bieniemy cook. Let him do exactly what he wants to do on offense and how he wants to do it. We saw what the worst looked like. We had the worst offensive coordinator, maybe outside of Matt Patricia, last year. And it was awful. It was painful. We had to sit through it for 3 years. Let somebody who knows what they're doing actually call all the plays, put in the people he wants, start who he wants, bench who he wants. And I think we will have a great offense, much better, certainly, than what we saw these last couple of years. So I'm excited for that and to see how they look this training camp.
Definitely agree with that. And look, nobody knows right now. These are just guesses and predictions because this is what you do at this point in the year. We don't know what this team's going to look like. I think we're all excited to find it out. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you are locked in. Stay true, stay real. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, peace.